Hello YouTube, back with the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Review, and today I'm reviewing Structure Deck, Spellcaster's Judgment. This is, as I said, I think the fifth, when I reviewed the fifth Structure Deck, this was the release of Nightmare Steel Cage in English. We had never gotten it before until this point, despite the fact that Japan had it at least a few times, reprinted. They had the Merrick Structure Deck, the Japanese Merrick Structure Deck. They had it, obviously, I don't know, I'm trying to think whether it was in Japan's Structure Deck or not. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure they probably had it at least reprinted more than once. They generally don't reprint a lot in Japan. It's generally because the cards are so cheap to begin with anyway. But as you can see, I've got 3 copies of Tempest Magician. This is the promo card versions, okay, in case you're wondering why they aren't secret rare as they were when they were first printed. I could never have afforded the 3 copies in secret rare form. I think were they Crossroads of Chaos, I think, when they were printed. I've also got an Explosive Magician as well, and an Arcanite Magician. I mean, as you can see, I've kind of made it sort of more on spell counters. Here's Arcanite here, and here's Explosive Magician. I get most of these based on spell counters. I mean, the deck already is anyway. So I've also updated the No More Crossout, obvious inclusion here, and a tuner monster. So if I'm going to use synchros, I need tuners. So Flamvel Magician is an obvious choice. It's a level 4 tuner monster. It's also searchable, so I can bring it out with whatever I want. And here's the print of Nightmare Steel Cage. First ever print. Didn't come out here until we got it here. And I think this might have also been the debut of Mystic Box. We didn't get that card for a while either. It's also got some pretty decent reprints in here. I mean, a lot of the cards from Magician's Force got printed in here, and also, well, some cards that were hard to get. Mage Power's in here. Breaker's in here. Of course, some of the cards aren't so great, but a lot of other cards, I mean, here's the Boss Monster, Dark Radical Warlock. Is literally nothing more than kind of a somewhat upgraded Dark Magician, and yes, they included Dark Magician in here, as well as Skilled Dark Magician, the card that helps you much more easily bring it out. So get it out of the way. There's Skilled Dark right there. And probably one of my better, because Dark Radical Warlock doesn't do a whole lot. It's not really, and it's no stronger than Dark Magician. You have to tribute it to summon it as well. Anyway, and a mere 1,000 points of damage when a player activates a normal spell. Not going to happen all that often, especially not these days. And even if it does, this card can easily be destroyed beforehand. We got Dark Hole and Regek. I got at least Dark Hole back. I don't remember if Regeki's back. We know we got a couple other normal spells that have previously been banned. Here's Chaos Command Magician. I mean, there's a pretty decent amount of reprints in here. I just don't know if the deck is as good. I mean, it may have had. I mean, when it first came out, obviously, I'm sure it probably was a lot better. I also included Negate Attack for obvious reasons. I mean, this is a pretty decent card. It's a good way to thwart OTKs and stuff like that. I mean, it's not the worst deck in here. I mean, some of the cards in here, I think, shared the banned list at one point or another. I know Tsukiyomi, which is in here. It's the only spirit monster in here. Some of the cards in here, I don't feel like they should have been in here, just because they're not that very good. Here's a Dark Magician. I think this might have been the first reprint of the of this artwork, because this was originally printed in Dark Beginning Volume 1, I believe, as an ultra rare. So it was at least good to have Dark Magician as a common, although you probably would have had at least a few copies by now anyway, because it was in the tins, it was in the Yu-Gi Evolution deck, it was in the first starter deck Yu-Gi as well. So you had a couple shots to get the Dark Magician pretty easily. Getting out of the Dark Beginning 1 pack is going to be pretty difficult because it's 250 cards, and the rarity ratios were a lot higher than they are now. Nowadays, you can pretty well get an ultra rare for not a lot. And of course, I included other tuners. I got Arcane Apprentice, mostly just for synchro summoning, really. And Shield Crush, because it's a pretty decent anti-defensive card. So if they set anything, if you're Swords of Consuming Light, they can flip it down and then just choose the monster you want to get rid of. It's gone. It won't have any ability to protect itself from destruction. And here's Breaker as well, just so you're aware. Yeah, that's Breaker. It's common. A lot of these cards were reprinted. The other new card in here was Mystical Beast Cerebus. This was the debut of this card to work with spell counters. Not very good. It'll lose all its attack points that it's gained once it attacks. I mean, it's kind of pointless. It's not really that good. Although I guess, it's not too bad of a deck. I mean, it could be worse. Arguably the starter decks are worse than that, but then that's why they're starter decks. They're not meant to be tournament winning decks. You'd never be able to win with a starter deck these days. Maybe with the Link Strike starter deck. I wouldn't count on it, though. And one other reprint I included was the Tricky. It's good, relatively decent Spellcaster. I mean, all you use is card to card, specials on it. Doesn't cost, I mean, it doesn't have any other effects, but it's got 2,000 attacks, so it's not the worst. It was one of the cards I thought of including. I don't know what I would include now. I mean, some of the cards are highly situational. I mean, they included cards like Dark Magic Attack, which only works on Dark Magician. Can't use it on any other Dark Magician monster. I mean, granted, it was probably only reprinted here just to lower its rarity, because it was originally a... I'm trying to think, was it Soul the Duelist? It was one of those sets out there. Yeah, I think it might have been Soul the Duelist where this card was printed first. Either that or Rise of Destiny. Somewhere in there, but it was ultra rare either way. So I guess they printed it in there for... And yes, just so you're aware, you do get a copy of No More to Cross Out in here as well. So... But you get a lot of other cards that every other structure deck up to this point had. You know, Reload, stuff like that. And here's Tsukiyomi, just to verify that, yes, it's in here. This is the common version. Although it wasn't hard to get to begin with, it just got eventually banned, I think, because of its uses of its own accord. But this isn't the worst structure deck. I think the one that comes out later, the Spellcaster's Command, is a lot better. Stronger monster, more uses with spell counters. Arguably, you could take some from that deck and put it in this one. Arguably, back you could mix and match and probably get your own better structure deck out of the whole deal. But of course, you know, it's kind of sad that some of the cards haven't been reprinted. I mean, as far as I know, Arcanite Magician has never been reprinted. I mean, if it has, it's been a fairly long time. Yes, you can see it's super rare. Probably should not have been, in my opinion. I don't think it's really that good, but I have it in here. It's good to start, and then after that, once the spell counters are used up, it's going to drain its attack points. It gains 500, I think, for each. No, it gets 1,000. So to lose attack points every time it uses its effect. So not the worst structure deck. Definitely a far cry from the Warrior's Triumph structure deck, and arguably I'd say most of the ones before it. Probably only slightly better or worse than the Dragon's Roar structure deck, although arguably I think the Dragon's Roar structure deck is probably a little bit better. But yeah, that's my review on the structure deck Spellcaster's Command. Thanks.